I've asked to make a few comments about Grandma Foote, my wife, your grandmother and great-grandmother and so forth, who passed away last December 11th. And how many of you remember, well, you all remember Grandma Foote, of course, because she's hasn't been very long, but how many have been to the ranch with Grandma Foote? Great, wasn't it? She couldn't do enough, couldn't get enough, eat enough, or do whatever had to be done. She had to do more for you. And it's the same way with me. She's a wonderful lady. Let me give you just a little bit of background about our relationship. Early on, I was going to college in Cedar City, and she was going to kindergarten. No. she was going to high school. Literally goes high school. That's not true. So we're 4 years difference in our ages. And so I was a sophomore in high school. In college, she was a sophomore in high school when we met. At a college dance, she was there with another college friend of mine. He was a college friend of mine. Until he introduced me to Barbara. We were married and 4 years later, no, 2 years later, I guess, 2 years later. And she's been a real sweetheart, a real stalwart. You know, if you know her, you remember her.
So tell us about your courtship with Grandma.
Yeah, it was good. she was a very popular person, as you can guess. Yeah, and I was very tricky. As I mentioned, she was quite young and I was quite old. I was, I guess, 20 and she was 18 when she got out of high school. And I went to BAC, which is now Southern Utah University, SUU, in Cedar City. And she lived in Cedar City. And we went together. And the routine thing back in those days of young men that would graduate from the area here and go off to college would go to Cedar City because they had a good agriculture. If they wanted to be in agriculture, most of us did because we were raised on farms and stuff. Would go up to Cedar City for a couple of years, for 2 years, and then get their basic courses, and then transfer to Utah State. See, at that time, BAC was Branch Agricultural College, and so that's what I planned to do. That's every education I had. But when the second year ran out, I could see the end coming of the second year. I could see big eyes all over the place, just looking, waiting for me to leave. For some reason. And so I got the catalog out, and I figured out how I could stay one more year, get all the courses I need, and still graduate from Utah State in one more year up there. So I stayed 3 years, but boy, there were a lot of disappointed guys when that happened. And then we finished up, went to Utah State for 1 year, a lot of trips back and forth in the meantime to Cedar City. And then she came up from graduation at Utah State with Uncle Moran and some other family members and Uncle Rodney and some of them. And then in the following fall, we got married in September and went in the military. I had an obligation at that time to give 2 years to Uncle Sam. And so we spent 2 years together in the military right after we were married. I thought we had some time because I was supposed to report for active duty in July. And the orders were canceled because of finances for the government. And so thought we had more time. We got married, went on a honeymoon, came back and had a telegram waiting for me saying, report for duty in 3 weeks for active duty. And so we went to Texas and went in active duty, spent a year in Germany and 2 years in the military altogether, and then came back and then went to graduate school. And she supported me through all of it, very, very strongly, very wonderful. She's fulfilled very many assignments. She's staked in both wars and staked Young Women's President, at least once on each of them, and various assignments, and she's been very, very devout. She's wonderful. How many think she's a wonderful mother and grandmother? See? I was right. Other questions? I'm sorry. Anything else?
Right now it's hands only. Hands only.
Where's she going or anything?
Pardon me?
Where did you go on your honeymoon?
We went to Salt Lake, the state fair. And and while we were at it, since I thought I had quite a bit of time now, because the military had said backed off and said we'll call you later on sometime in the future. We went up to Utah State. I graduated from Utah State. We went back to there. I planned to go back to graduate school someplace in the Midwest, or the plan which I ultimately did in Wisconsin. But we went to Logan, back to Utah State, and visited with some of the professors up there. I said, I'm not going to the military like I thought I was. Any chance to get into starting some kind of a graduate program here at Utah State? And they said, yeah, I would love to have you do it. We don't have any assistantships. We'll find some money somewhere to help you get going. So yeah, we'll help you out. They felt sorry for me, and so we rented a little apartment there, my lady, and drove back to Cedar City, and there was an orders report back to active duty. So we had to call everybody and say sorry about that.
What your first date was, and how you proposed?
What made you think I proposed?
I know she would have.
First date was a dance, a college dance at BAC, Cedar City, and she was out on a date with a friend of mine, a good friend of mine.
And your first date.
Pardon? And we got acquainted, and I danced with her, and then later on I called her up, and we got together, and then started going together. And,
How did you propose marriage?
gosh, I can't remember. Must have been some kind of an agreement someplace along the line. Actually, we just kind of talked it over. I actually asked how she felt about things. We'd visited for a long time one night and talked about families and about a lot of things. We'd already talked enough. We both had the idea pretty much what we both felt. At least I thought we did. And apparently it was not too far off. And she, when I said, well, would you do it? She said, yeah. Okay. So we did. She encouraged me to do things that I weren't capable of doing, so we did it anyway. And she supported me so strongly. And at one time, I remember we were in a meeting, and Dave mentioned about paying tribute to the wives and to the women, and that's I've thought about that aspect quite a bit. It lasts quite a while. A new stake presidency had been called, and we were meeting with with Elder Mark E. Peterson, who was a member of the Quorum of the 12 many years ago, and had the new leaders of the stake together with him, and to give us some counsel before we launched into a new stake program. And he made a comment that I've always remembered, and he said, many men in the church are fully qualified to fulfill church assignments of leadership, but are never called because they don't have the necessary support at home from their wives. I thought that was kind of a backhanded compliment to the wives, but it was a real compliment. He meant it that way, it was a real compliment. But it goes farther than that, because it's equally important for husbands to support the wives as it is for the wives to support the husbands. And we found that, and I've tried to do that, and haven't done as good a job as she did, supporting me, but as we went on, and had an opportunity to serve in various capacities in the church. It's been a fun trip. We were twice. Well, once I was in a meeting in Las Vegas. We went to attend the state conference in Las Vegas with the general authority, Elder Mark E. Peterson, or not Mark E. Peterson, that was the other, H. Burke Peterson of the 70s. And Barbara attended me with that, Sister Foote attended me with that in that meeting. And it's the first time she met Elder Peterson. And he had a prayer meeting before, and he talked to her and did a little bit. And then he came out of the prayer meeting on our way into the chapel. He said to Sister Foote, she said, by the way, I think I may call on you may have them call on you to say a few words, which they did, and which she did. And after the conference, we had a chance to visit again. He looked at me and said, boy, you really married above yourself. I thought, that's really a compliment to me, because he said, I really chose to run for a wife. Then about 6 months later, another state conference, another general authority, and then after he visited Barbara a little while, she was there with me. He said, you really married above yourself. Well, maybe there's a message here, but I'm not quite picking up on. This was the way life. This is where life was. I did indeed marry far above myself, because she was She was a classy lady. She was the most spiritual person I've known. Literally, she was so close to the Lord in all she did. And she was a mother to a bunch of wonderful children, grandchildren, and so forth. And it's been a wonderful opportunity. It was a wonderful opportunity, and I thank the Lord every night. The opportunity I had to spend my life with such a wonderful person. Last night, this is kind of close, but I'm going to say it. Last night, whenever it was that you guys, the youth cousins, came by and sang to us, how many days ago was that? Whenever it was, whenever you came by, and we were out there, and we could hear you singing and so forth. Sister Foote was there with us, enjoying it with the rest of us. And we feel His presence of those on the other side of the veil very strongly in many ways. I'm not going to say any more about that except to thank you, sisters, wives, and daughters, for making our family what it is, because the men don't accomplish that much on their own. We like to think we do, but it's not the way it is. And we truly do appreciate all of you.